So one of the more interesting dynamics is playing out within NBA media, especially as a lot of former athletes begin to enter that space, is the overlooking and just the moving of the goalposts for the international stars such as Jokic and SGA. And in this segment, we'll see it play out no further than some of the remarks that Tracy McGrady had made about Anthony Edwards and SGA being almost on the same level. And that is a major blind spot that the NBA media overall has for the international stars just not respecting their journeys. Keep in mind, SGA is the same age as Jason Tatum, and he won an NBA championship on a team where the average age is 25. Go take a look back at the championship ceremony. These guys did not even know how to open champagne bottles. But this is indeed a blind spot by a lot of the former players within the media. SGA within his journey did not even make the playoffs in the 2022-2023 season, as Anthony Edwards eliminated his team in the play-in. So once again, when it comes to a lot of these guys, especially the brand new stars of today, they are going to have to combine their on-court success with a little bit of media savviness to kind of align them with certain people to uphold their image throughout the years. LeBron James has mastered this. Michael Jordan has a perfect formula of on-court success and also having certain pundits within the media to actually uphold his legacy as the years go by. Because that's really the main difference between the stars of the 80s, the 70s. They didn't necessarily have the opportunity to position themselves within the media because the NBA back then wasn't the big global money-making machine that we see today. So we're going to get into it. You guys check it out, and every once in a while, I'll check in.
I think Ant-Man. I think Ant-Man is right there with Shai, if not better. Defensively, I mean, he's a on the ball, lockdown defender. He's making you work. I think his competitive drive, his spirit is different than everybody else's.
Yeah.
Ant-Man got the American swag. It's undeniable. The media loves it, and they're used to it. Look at the legends we still uphold. The Magic Johnsons with the smile, the charisma, the Michael Jordan with the hoop earring, the tongue out, Kobe Bryant, the cockiness. The NBA overall has been marketed a certain way, especially when it comes to their figureheads in the last, I would say, 40 years plus. You would think some of that would translate over to SGA, but there is a major disconnect because he definitely has the aura, the style, the fashion. He's killing it on the court. His playmaking ability is where Anthony Edwards is going to make the next leap when he gets there. Ant-Man is going to have to get his teammates more involved. Sometimes the T-Wolves look like they need a point guard out there to facilitate that offense. But Ant-Man has made leaps over the years. But SGA right now, especially after the 2025 finals, he's in a whole different bag, and it's not only on the offensive side. In the NBA Finals in Game 4, on the road, they looked like they were about to go down 3-1 against the Pacers, especially in that third quarter in Game 3. SGA had nothing going for himself, but he locked in defensively, and then in the fourth quarter, he came alive and dropped 15 points. And this is coming off a 7-game series previously where he had to go mano-a-mano with Jokic. Once again, you would figure that SGA has a total package, but yet he's still not held to a certain esteem. It's not just T-Mac right here talking. The rest of the media subconsciously sort of feels this way. It goes to show you how the league really knows how to market itself with an American star as the figurehead. Eventually down the line, if Cooper Flag starts winning, he is going to have a different shine on him versus Luka Doncic being from a different country. Even the way Cooper plays, you can tell he's an American-born player, and he has that braggadocious style that we all love.
Right? I think his approach is different. I think he has less talent, depth, I should say, on his roster than someone like Shai, so it's going to look different.
No, T-Mac. At the moment right now, especially after playing Monday morning quarterback, it looks that way. But Ant-Man once again had eliminated SGA in the 2022-2023 play-in tournament. So the Thunder did not make the playoffs. And Edwards always had more polished veterans on his team. Mike Conley, Rudy Gobert, and also Karl Anthony Towns, who was in the league, I believe, about 5 to 6 years before Ant-Man got there. So it can't be forgotten how SGA was in that purgatory after getting traded from the Clippers, where the Thunder were just collecting picks for a couple of years. There was that time where they got Kemba Walker, CP3. They were just in a phase of collecting picks, and they went from missing the playoffs, getting eliminated in the play-in, to being first place in their conference. And all this was done with a bunch of young players. By the time they won the finals, the average age on that team was 25 years old. That cannot be overlooked. And keep in mind, Jason Tatum and SGA are the same age.
But for Ant-Man to have taken his team, and he's not doing it by himself, but to him have 2 Western Conference Finals on his resume at this age and what he's right there with Shai.
I don't want Ant to take that question the wrong way because you've been on the scene. You've been that guy. I think
for sure.
I'm talking more so next step. And we've talked about this on the show NBC about his ability now to learn how to manipulate the situation in defenses, meaning early in the games, getting guys involved more.
Last year in the playoffs, when the T-Wolves went up against the Lakers, Ant-Man has shown that he has improved on this. Sometimes the easy shit came hard for him, like finishing at the rim. I don't know why he missed so many layups in that series. But he has taken a step forward. The only thing is that can he make that final quantum leap? And if not, the T-Wolves might have to consider getting at least a ball handler that can felicitate the offense. Because right now we're in this era of the NBA where teams are not necessarily playing with traditional point guards, but at a point, not all these guys like Paolo Banchero, and we're going to see if Cade Cunningham could take that step up, but not all of these guys are going to be winning past a certain level. They may need, I don't want to say a traditional point guard, but they may need an additional ball handler on the team to get other guys more involved. It took Jason Tatum some time to figure it out as he was in that role. We seen Asar Thompson down in Houston being thrusted into this role with Fred VanVleet being injured. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George sort of ran into a wall in the bubble going up against Jokic because throughout that series, sometimes they got stuck in a rut, just having to create for themselves a little bit too much. Jalen Johnson of the Hawks have thrived so much in this role that they ended up getting rid of Trae Young. But at the end of the day, at some point, they're going to have to figure out how far can they go climbing up the ladder throughout the playoffs with him just being thrusted in that role. Again, for some of these guys, they're going to end up hitting a wall. And I believe the Orlando Magic this season is starting to look at things a little bit different with Paolo Banchero.
To learn how to manipulate the situation in defenses, meaning early in the games, getting guys involved more to make the game easier for him in the second half, for him to be as dominant. So learning that I could still get 35 points, but it doesn't translate to wins all the time. And I feel like now he's understand if I get DiVincenzo, now I got Julius. Let Julius get rolling, get McDaniels, get some of my role guys, even get Mike Conley when he comes in. You get guys who are on the floor knocking down shots or even shooting shots. Maybe they're not making it. You make that defender think. Now that's a half a step to your advantage to get to the, because when he get 1 foot in the paint, lift off.
Yeah. So
and it sets everything else up, and it makes the fourth quarter, the last 5 minutes, easier.
Yeah. So that 35, doing it that way is more impactful and meaningful, than you going out scoring 35. DiVincenzo has like 5 points. The other guys' production is really low, and you having to take 30 shots to get those 35 points.
And a lot of them are bad shots now as opposed to what can transpire. That's why I think Shai, that's where Shai, being a point guard, having the ball in his hand, which now I think they're putting the ball in Ant-Man's hands, in Ant-Man's hands more.
Yeah.
But I think Shai has been in that position as a point guard, can get the ball, get guys going, get J-Dub going, and then he knows it's his time. But it's also a different dynamic. That team as a whole understands who he is, he meaning Shai, and they know he's our guy. He's going to get us the ball. We trust him, and just like we trusted him, like he trusts us.
And that's the thing right there. SGA does get his teammates the ball, whether they're hot or not. And his playmaking ability, especially when he gets into that high post area, is undeniable. I mean, he's like fucking Neo right now in the Matrix, just either finding the cutters or just the open shooters or just knocking down the mid-range himself. I would love to see Ant-Man get into the high post area to kind of compromise these defenses a lot more, because sometimes he's a little bit too caught up just going through the legs nonstop at the three-point line. When you got a vertical like that, it's almost a waste.
And that's where I think Minnesota has not gotten yet. That's why, but I think for where they are, ups and downs, all the injuries Minnesota had, they on the come up.
Yeah, I think what not Shai, but I think what Ant-Man is going to have to figure out is simplifying the game, closing out the game.
Hey, right here, T-Mac is spot on. Closing out these games, especially when you start getting to that second round to conference finals. That's truly the next leap for him. And SGA kind of went through the same thing because his team outside of him and J-Dub doesn't really have a ball handler who can create their own shot. So when it came to the closing moments of some of these games, whether they were up by 3 with a minute left or up by 5 with 2 minutes left, sometimes they fell into a rut. And we seen them overcame those hurdles last season in that 7-game series against Jokic. Normally with OKC, all you had to do is keep the game tight at the end. And that's the same hurdle that Ant-Man has to climb over. That's why I'm surprised T-Mac kind of stated that Ant-Man and SGA is almost at the same level, and that's not the case.
His point attack can't be always from the three-point line.
I agree.
He has to play a little bit around that mid-post.
Set-up basketball a little bit.
Running that mid-post area, that free throw line area, because he's so explosive.
That's the same exact area SGA occupies when he's playmaking and killing at the mid-range. T-Mac's comments right here just debunked his initial statements, kind of alluding that Ant-Man and SGA are at the same level, because all the things he wants to see Edwards do a lot more is things that SGA is already kind of mastered right now. He's in a completely different bag.
And in those areas, you can see defenses, you can read defenses better, right? And your point of attack is, it's one dribble and you at the basket, or it's one dribble in that area. You could create so much space because the angles that you're in. So I'm hoping that he's watched film, because he struggled with that in the playoffs last year when teams loaded up on him. Yeah. So I'm hoping he's watched film and then worked on his game on being able to get his shot off in that phone booth when he's in those areas, right?
That's old terminology there, boy.
It can't be, multiple dribbles trying to get you. No, it has to be bang, bang.
Get to
it, and get out of there.
And I think I made mention of that on air as well. You're seeing more of that in the regular season from him now.
Yes.
Obviously preparing himself for playoffs, because he understands that's what was missing to close out, obviously.
But what we don't want, though, shooting those, I don't know, how we probably averaging 8, maybe 10 threes in the regular season. Can't do that in the playoffs.
T-Mac is cooking. In that exact scenario with Anthony Edwards not being able to get off all those threes in the playoffs will actually show the T-Wolves if they truly need a point guard to get to that next level, just an additional ball handler. The higher up you go in these rounds, when you have your superstar just chucking up 8 threes a game, it means you're settling a lot and there's nobody to get guys in their spots. The offense is kind of stagnant. It made sense why the T-Wolves had traded for Mike Conley a couple years back. And with some of their other younger point guards not necessarily catching up fast enough, they might have to send out a package to get somebody a little bit more polished.
I'd rather see a couple of those threes turn into free throws.
We got to attack in the playoffs. Yeah. Like, you got to put pressure on whoever is guarding you. You got to put pressure on them. Playoffs, you should be shooting 10 to 12 free throws.
Especially him. He's very capable.
Yes.
Indeed. But at the end of the day, the international stars, they're sort of getting subconsciously overlooked. Their whole come up into their success is not being as well respected. There's a gap there. And I would say SGA and Jokic, or any of the international stars, even guys like Luka, they're going to have to master the PR side or just the media side of the game. There's a lot of trickle-down effects from the whole First Take, Undisputed, Stephen A. Smith sports debate culture. So mastering the media side of the game and just getting certain allies to uphold their image and propagate certain narratives to the masses is truly a must in this era.